minutes sharp at 11:30. Yes. Hello. Yes. Hi, good morning. Just before I start, am I audible? If someone can please tell me.
Yeah, hi.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, a very good morning to everyone. And hello all, myself Ekta Seedway. And on behalf of the Brinalytics team and our partner Exotel, we welcome you all and thank you for being part of our webinar, Empowering Customer-Facing Teams in BFSI using Cloud Telephony. So before we start the webinar, there are a few guidelines that I would like to highlight and make you people aware of. The first thing, requesting all the attendees to be on mute, please, when the speakers are taking the session, because it creates a disturbance when someone is speaking. So you can unmute yourself when you would when we'll be opening for the Q&A session. So there would be a Q&A after each session where the attendees can ask the questions, if any, to the respective speakers. Also, a request, the few attendees join with the name of the gadget. So if you can just rename yourself, that really helps us in understanding the person who has joined in. So the guidelines for the Q&A are, you need to raise your hands, unmute yourself on your video, introduce yourself, your name, company, designation, and put your questions to the respective speakers. So before we move on to our keynote session, a little brief about our partner and the webinar. To start with, I would like to introduce our partner Exotel. Exotel is one of Asia's largest cloud telephony companies, working with 4,500 plus businesses, including top enterprises and startups. They solve communication problems for various industries, be it automobile, e-commerce, cab aggregators, BFSI, or fintech. Exotel is a secure and reliable business phone system on the cloud. Simple to set up, no additional infrastructure or equipment required. Enables sales and support teams irrespective of where they work from. A little brief about webinar, why we all are here. BFSI's move to the cloud recently saw an increase due to the pandemic. The primary reason for this move was to empower customer-facing teams to work without hindrance to provide customers with the best experience possible. Cloud communications offers a simple solutions to these problems. Despite rising cloud adoption, there's still been not enough awareness about what cloud telephony is and how it can enhance the BFS sector. The webinar will focus on adoption of cloud in BFSI sector, key challenges and opportunities, how cloud telephony can help empower customer-facing teams in sales calling, RM connects, customer support, creating better customer experiences, ensuring compliance and business continuity with cloud telephony. Quickly moving forward to start with the first keynote session, I would like to welcome our keynote speaker, Mr. Raman MK, Manager Account-Based Marketing at Exotel. Raman has played an instrumental role at Exotel in researching and coming up with personalized solutions for different verticals and geographies. In the past 5 years, he has worked with numerous enterprises in various industries to solve their communication challenges through cloud telephony. And he will be sharing his insights on empowering customer-facing teams by gaining visibility into customer conversation. Over to you, Raman, to start your session, please.
Thank you so much, Ekta. Also, Shubha, could you just share the deck if you don't mind? I'm not able to share. Just a minute, guys. I'm so sorry. All right. Okay. Firstly, thank you so much, Ekta, for the introduction. And it definitely is a pleasure to be speaking amongst all of you. As Ekta mentioned, I am Raman. I basically handle enterprise marketing at Exotel. In fact, today I'm going to be talking to you about how cloud telephony is actually playing a key role in empowering some of the customer-facing teams in BFSI. Right. In fact, I think Shubha, if you can just go to the third slide. Yeah, in fact, we will be covering how the pandemic has actually accelerated the process of cloud telephony adoption by the BFSI industry, right? Followed by how some of the customer-facing teams like sales, RM, collection teams, etc., are actually benefited from this particular adoption. Shubha, if you can move to the next slide. Yeah, in fact, if you see on the slide, right, if you think about it, there's surely been a rapid growth in the entire cloud telephony adoption in the last 6 months or so. In fact, in the last year or so, if I'm not wrong, right? Just to give you an example, we at Exotel itself have actually onboarded over 300 plus companies just during the lockdown, right? And in fact, almost 100 plus companies are actually purely from BFSI organizations. And this happened during especially the lockdown from March to June, July, August, around that period, right? This includes some of the top banks, insurance companies, broking companies, and other various financial institutions in India. Though the initial objective of this entire shift was to ensure business continuity and also to enable remote working, but soon companies actually started to see how cloud telephony actually has the means to empower all their customer-facing teams to work without any hindrance and also to provide the customers with the best possible experience, right? Shubha, if you can just move to the next slides. In fact, institutions in the BFSI sector are actually increasingly realizing that cloud telephony it actually goes beyond just remote work, right? There have actually been many opportunities and ways in which financial institutions can actually benefit from it. And the most important of them being these two that you see on your screen. The first one is creating a better customer experience. And the second one being gaining more visibility and insights. And this is what most customer-facing teams do, right? So they want to give their customers the best possible experience and also try and gain a lot of visibility into what is actually happening in the customer interaction. And also try and gain insight so that they can try and regroup and try and re-thought the entire process and try and see how they can better the process. In fact, let's have a real life example of how this comes into play, right? My mother actually tried setting up a bank account recently, right? In fact, this happened during the lockdown, if I'm not wrong. The entire process was actually so smooth and was done just within a few hours of time, right? In fact, all of it was done at the comfort of home, firstly, right? And it was completely contactless. In fact, as soon as she signed up, she got a call from one of the sales executives who actually guided her through the entire process, sent her all the necessary links over an SMS where she could actually upload all the documents directly. And after that, he also sent her a video link for basically document verification purpose. And basically this entire process, right, the entire onboarding process was extremely simple. Firstly, it was a mom who was not very tech savvy, and it was extremely simple. She could actually he guided her through the entire process. It was so simple and it was completely smooth, right? In fact, the key reason for this positive experience was basically the use of technology at each step, or literally every step of the verification process. In fact, my mother got guidance that she needed at each step while staying at home, right? In fact, voice communication actually has played a crucial role in enriching the customer experience, which shows how cloud telephony is not just about enabling remote work, but it goes much beyond that, right? The fact that the response time was so fast implies that the whole process of it being tracked, and the sales executives are actually held accountable for every communication that they have with the customer. In fact, this shows how tracking customer communication can directly lead to better results for your organizations. Shubha, if you can go to the next slide. Let's actually now take a look at how cloud telephony can actually help some of the customer-facing teams individually, right? We spoke about sales, collections, and RM team, right? We'll take a look at them individually. But before I move further, I have a couple of questions for you all, right? The first question is, what do you think is the average response time in the BFSI sector? Like this, if I call for an inquiry, or if I drop my number on, say, like a banking platform to open an account, what do you think is the average first response time? Can any of you just type in the chat window, or just unmute and just give me a quick answer if you don't mind?
See, Raman, things have changed. The way, so you have just explained yourself, right? In past, it was like, the banks or any company used to take 24 hours to kind of come back to a customer. But now the cloud coming into the picture now, or the artificial intelligence and this WhatsApp, commercial and all. Now companies are able to reach back the customer in like minutes, or I would say in seconds, right?
Of course. Yeah, of course. I think Tanmay, right? If I'm not wrong.
No, this is Jay.
Yeah. Jay, sorry, I'm sorry, I couldn't see. All right, that's true, Jay. I mean, that's definitely true. Most companies are actually adopting, like you mentioned, they're actually adopting cloud telephony, and their response times are really, really quick. But in fact, like this is a survey that we actually did last year, just around the COVID time, and when we actually did this, right, the first response time, at least for all the traditional banks, all the top banks in India, it took less than, at least close to 24 hours, right? This is a survey that we did almost every bank out there, right? And I'm talking specifically about banks. But again, but since then, there's been a lot of improvement already, right? Like you mentioned, there's been response on WhatsApp, there's been response on other omni-channel communication that's been adopted by the companies to give you better response. But still, the first human interaction actually takes anywhere between like 4 to 5 hours to 24 hours, at least on an average I'm talking about. Yes, of course, most companies are actually adopted this, and that's what I'm coming to, right? Where most companies have actually adopted, and this, in fact, the pandemic has actually accelerated this entire process, right? In fact, studies also shows 90% of the warm leads actually decay within the first 4 to 8 hours, right? But despite that, are still, at least the average first contact time is like over 24 hours, and sometimes even more. Like, just one more question, one more follow-up question. How many leads in the BFSI sector do you think actually make it to the second and the third follow-up, right? In case wherever the follow-up is required.
10%.
Sorry?
10%, Raman.
Yeah, in fact, my answer was a little more optimistic. In fact, at least through the studies and through the articles that I went through, basically basically the survey mentioned 30%. But yes, right. So that is actually how much it actually moves to at least the third follow-up, right? So, and that is where in fact, these stats clearly show that there's a massive gap in customer communication in the BFSI sector, right? If I'm not wrong. In fact, specifically with sales teams, where time is of essence, and tracking response times and follow-ups becomes extremely crucial, right? In fact, but basically these inefficiencies aren't only limited to just sales teams or the RM team or the collection teams. In fact, they're actually bundled on with other similar challenges as well, right? In fact, the lack of adhering to just suggested callback times affects the performance of each of these teams. Let's actually now take a look at how cloud telephony can actually help with each of these challenges that is being faced by these customer-facing teams. All right, guys. So let's quickly start with the sales team, right? In the last few months, especially during the pandemic, this was one of the most affected teams, right? However, we were able to improve the sales conversion rate for some of the top banks, insurance, and broking companies that we actually work with. Not just by enabling remote work, but by helping them reduce the response times and increase the pickup rates and etc. Like you mentioned, right, Jay? So this is exactly what we did. What you mentioned is exactly what we did for some of the companies that we actually worked with, and most companies who have actually adopted cloud telephony are working towards the same goal, right? In fact, conversion rate is one of the primary number that is tracked by every sales team, right? And is almost directly proportional to your basically your pickup. Your conversion rate is very directly proportional to your pickup rates and response times, right? If you think about it, the more number of people who pick up your call, you have more chances of converting, right? Those particular clients. To give you a rough estimate, one of the insurance companies that we work with, we're able to actually increase their conversion rate by almost 10% to 15% by just increasing their pickup rate from 15 to 35%, right? So this shows that your pickup rates are very directly dependent, or it impacts your conversion rate as well. And that is why cloud telephony comes into picture, where they actually help you not just enable remote work, but also give you improve with your business parameters by improving your pickup rates and also like your response times and etc. Let's talk about RM teams, right? Similarly, like we also actually work with a lot of banks and other BFSI institutions, of course, specifically with their RM teams, right? And in fact, this is where there are a lot of managers or zonal managers or RM heads who are looking to have 100% visibility or 360-degree visibility into what is happening with the RM conversations. One of the challenges that at least some of the clients that we interacted faced was basically they do not know how many customers they're actually interacting with. How many customers are the RMs interacting with on a daily basis. So every RM has a target of say 100 clients or 200 clients whom they have to engage with month on month, right? But how do you know whether they're actually engaging with all of these customers? And Exadel actually provides a way for you to do this, or cloud telephony in general provides you a way to track all these communication that happens between your RM and your customer. It can even be through his mobile phones or through his landlines and etc. Whichever device he uses, it can still be tracked, right? So that is how we were actually able to help some of these banks that you see on your screen to track and monitor all their HNI conversations that happen. So in fact, that way they were also able to not only track them, but also improve their entire upselling process, right? They were able to find a feedback loop and try and improve their entire engagement process between their RM and their HNI customers. Yeah, Shubha, let's move to the next slide, collection teams. Yeah, so in fact, collection, which is one of the major challenge for most institutions, right? I'm sure most of you would agree to it, right? And in fact, if you closely observe, here too, it is very, very related. Basically, the amount of collection done can be actually related to the number of payment reminders done by the company or the number of people who actually answer the call for your collection reminders, right? And in fact, if you notice, we were actually able to improve the efficiencies of each of these teams by just helping them track and monitor their entire customer communication and also automate communication at a few places, right? Just by doing this, we were able to help the sales team, collection teams, and even the RM teams, right? So that's how we've been actually, that's how cloud telephony actually have been benefited by each of these customer facing teams. All right, guys, I mean, we went over how cloud telephony can actually help address some of the challenges faced by the customer-facing teams. Now, let's actually take a look at the challenges that hinder financial institutions from moving from their current setup to a cloud-based communication, right? And these have been the reasons for a long time now, right? Let's look at them one by one. The first one is, in fact, that most institutions already have an on-prem infrastructure, right? And traditionally, most of these organizations in the BFS industry work with legacy communication systems, right? I mean, what do I mean by legacy communication systems? These are your EPBX boxes that you see in your call center offices, where they're attached with PRA lines and wires, which are drawn out to your laptops and your desk phones that your agent answers, where he or she makes calls or receives calls from, right? So in fact, these systems do get the job done. However, they need to integrate seamlessly across your entire tech layer in the organization and should also look to cater your future requirements, right? Unfortunately, most traditional systems are unable to provide such a functionality, or they lack the flexibility that any modern BFSI institution expects from their telephony systems, right? In fact, most importantly, these systems are very location dependent. That is, you need one physical space like an office setup with soft phones and etc. To basically monitor your communication, right? And also there's a lot of infra cost or setup cost which is involved, and it also comes up with maintenance cost and etc. If you've worked with an EPBX provider, you would know what I'm talking about, right? So in fact, this might work for a full-blown customer support team, but not so much for the customer-facing teams that we spoke about earlier, right? Like the sales team, collection teams, and the RM teams, and etc. Right? Where the communication is mostly done through their mobile phones, or they're either working from home given the current situation, or they're on the field, right, and talking to the customer on their mobile phone. Especially during these times, especially when now where the people are actually looking to work from home, this actually proved to be very, very useful. In fact, the second is data security, right? Customer communication involves sensitive customer information, right? Hence, it is very important it is very important to understand if the security of the platform is strong enough to protect your data or not, right? So this is also has been one of the biggest hindrance for any of the BFSI institute to move to a cloud-based center itself. That is one of the reasons why they choose to go with a on-prem system, which is independent of any outside connection and which is in the premise, right? Actually, in reality, if you have an on-premise setup, there is a high chance that the cloud-based platform can provide you with better security. In fact, having worked with some of the top banks and other financial institutions, we could actually list down what is it that organizations in the BFSI industry look for. When it comes specifically, when it comes to BFSI industry, what is it that they look for, and what are the things that they need to check off with respect to data security. Right? Let's just quickly take a look at some of the things that some of the banks expect, right? In fact, be it an on-prem or a cloud-based system, here's basically what most of the organizations look for. One, basically they look at security certifications, right? Does the platform adhere to industry standards of security or not, right? In fact, be a good starting point when it comes to security certifications. What also companies look for is basically two-factor authentications for accounts, right? To prevent any unauthorized logins. And this is also something that most companies look for when they're looking to choose a telephony vendor. And network encryption, right? So that is TLS1 or above is what most companies look for. Again, this is to help protect your data in transit, right? And of course, most companies want to make sure that there is audit logging and monitoring. Helps you understand who is actually accessing your platform at all times. And of course, every company that we work with, make sure that there is a data backup, and also there's a recovery plan, right? To prevent any loss of data. And in case there is a good recovery plan in place, right? And in fact, cloud communication actually, like a cloud communication platform actually checks all of these boxes, right? Well, at least Exetel sure does, right? And that's one of the reasons why we work with some of the top banks in the country. Therefore, cloud telephony offers you not just a scalable and a reliable solution or a telephony infra, but also it provides you a very, very highly secure platform. Yes. So I think that's it. That's it from my side, guys. I think if you guys have any questions, we can have the questions now. You can just unmute yourself and talk, or you can just type the question on the chat.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much, Raman, for the sharing your insights, interesting insights. So, audiences, we are open for the Q&A. As I've mentioned already, that you can put your questions in the chat box, if any, or you can directly put your questions to Raman. So, we are open for the Q&A. Raman, you can answer if we have any questions. You can raise your hands. So we'll wait for a minute, Raman, for people to ask questions, and then
No
we will.
problem.
So yes, please, the audience.
So hi Raman, I've got a question.
Yeah.
So okay, so I just wanted to
I'm
understand
sorry, could
what
you
is
just tell
the.
me your name if you don't mind?
So I am Jay, right? Raman, I just wanted to understand the change that you have seen, pre-COVID and post-COVID. What has been, I mean, the customers ask at your end, and what all the major queries or the customers are having these, post-COVID. That's.
Okay. A couple of things. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. Jay, right?
Yes, it's Jay.
Yeah. Hi, Jay. So basically, a couple of things that comes to my mind when it comes to pre-COVID and post-COVID, right? I think, like I told you, even pre-COVID, a couple of hindrance or challenge that customers faced was data security, and the first part was I already have an on-prem system. Why do I have to invest in a cloud-based system, right? So these are a couple of things that as the first questions when basically they're looking for a cloud-based vendor, right? And but when it comes to that, so basically we've been working with companies with a hybrid system where they can have best of both worlds. And in fact, I feel that is the best way to start with, at least right now, right? Where you can have both an on-prem system and a cloud communication system, which acts over like a layer over your on-prem system. It basically does everything that your on-prem system like fails to do, or where cloud-based system is better, right? So that is how we try to approach with clients, or that is what customers expect right now, right? And especially given the current times, they're also looking for future-ready systems, or where they don't have to, in case a similar situation like this occurs later on, they don't want to like they don't want their business to get affected, right? They want to make sure there's a steady BCP plan there, right? Like for example, basically a business continuity plan. So for that case, they have both a cloud and an on-prem system, which they already have. Now they have a cloud system which acts as a layer on top, or the entire cloud system itself has become their primary system for most companies that we work with, right? So this has been the case with most customers that we've worked with. Would that answer your question, Jay?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Raman. Thanks for answering.
Yeah.
Thank
definitely.
you so much, Jay. Raman, we have a quick question for Mr. Tanmay. For you, Mr. Tanmay, please put your question.
Yeah, hi. My name is Tanmay, and I'm a senior vice president with ACO General Insurance, and I look at the pre-sales side of the business. So my question is, with work from home for a lot of, let's say, my insurance agents becoming a reality, and has been a reality for the last 1 year, the challenges that an organization faces is the person who's speaking to the customer the same person? What about background noise that's coming from their houses? Are they saying what they're supposed to say? Of course, we do quality audits, but quality audits typically are 3-4% of the entire base. You can't audit everything. So with this kind of setup and scenario, where do you see cloud telephony adding value to the quality process? You know what I mean? By identifying there is background noise, by listening to keywords. Do you see that evolving at some stage, or just cloud telephony will do this part and somebody else will do this part? Do you see that chain getting fulfilled at some point?
No, definitely, Dharma. In fact, you also mentioned what is also happening right there, right? So, in fact, right now, it's at least up until now, the major role of cloud telephony has been tracking and monitoring conversations, right? And then you have your other tech providers come in and start analyzing the data for you. But the next step, or in fact, we're already doing this for some of the clients, and cloud telephony in general is already working on this, right? Where transcripts and etc., where you can actually identify keywords, right? And every conversation, for example, if you're talking about a collection agents, so there are a couple of things that they're working on. One is you might have to listen to a lot of random calls. That is what most companies companies are actually working towards analyzing every call and matching it with a preset keywords that they define, and making sure those keywords are present in the recordings too, right? Or they also try and detect what is the emotion that is happening in the call, and they try and see what is the emotion that they're supposed to have during the call, right? And if it is not matching, that is how they actually go back and see how they can rectify it. So I think this is the way it is going forward. At least this is way this is somewhere where cloud telephony is working towards.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you so much.
Thank you. So do we have anyone? We can take one more question if we have any questions from the audiences. Okay, I think we will have questions gradually when the panel discussion starts. Yes, so thank you, Raman, for sharing your insights. Now we are moving to the panel discussion. So moving to our panel discussion, the topic is cloud telephony to improve customer experience in the BFSI sector with real world examples. And I would like to invite the moderator, Shubha Sundaram, account-based marketing with Exotel. Shubha is into account-based marketing. Her expertise includes working with enterprises, helping them to streamline their communication through various products and use cases. She has worked with some of the largest organizations like insurance, NBFC, etc. Over to you, Shubha, to introduce the panel and take over the discussion. Shubha, you need to unmute yourself and on your video. I think Shubha has a weak connection. Shubha, am I audible to you? Just a moment, just a moment. Shubha will be here right back.
Sure.
Yeah, apologies. Shubha had just a connectivity issue. She's just rejoining in a second. Just wait for a moment. Sorry for the inconvenience, guys. Sorry. This is technology. If Raman, you are here, we have a question from Murali Satya. Meanwhile, Shubha joins in. Does your solution integrate with other AI or RPS solutions? Please share your presentation that will share Murali. So Raman, are you there to answer the question? Shubha is back, guys. Shubha, please take over the panel. I've just introduced you and you can start with the discussion.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the panel discussion. I'm really sorry there was some, internet connectivity problem from my end. Thanks, Ekta, for the introduction. I am Shubha from Exotel. I'm handling account-based marketing. So for today's discussion, we'll be talking about how cloud telephony could be used to improve the customer experience in the BFSI sector with real-world examples. So in the presentation, Raman gave an idea about the challenges being faced and how cloud telephony caters to it and how we have worked across. But now we have industry leaders from across insurance and fintech who will help us with some real life examples and brainstorm on how cloud telephony or voice communication can be used.
Shubha, sorry to interrupt.
We have some industry leaders from us today. Vamsi Krishnan, SVP Engineering, Head of IT,
Shubha, sorry to interrupt. I think your connection is a little weak.
Sorry?
Connection seems to be a little weak.
Am I audible?
but your voice is still breaking.
Hello, Ekta. Am I audible?
You are, but quite less, quite less. Shubha, please switch off your video. Mr. Tanmay has suggested, so that would be a better bandwidth for you. You can switch off your video, Shubha. We'll wait for a moment. I think she's rejoining again.
Hello, guys. Am I audible right now?
Yes, Shubha, please switch off your video and you are loud and clear. So please quickly start now. So sorry, guys.
So sorry. We have some of the top industry leaders with us today. Vamsi Krishnan, SVP Engineering, Head of IT, Dio Growth Credit Limited. Alap Gandhi, AVP Distribution, Innovation and Strategy, Future General India Life Insurance. Tanmay Ray Chaudhary, Senior Vice President, ACO Insurance. Himanshu Upadhyay, DGM at Shriram General Insurance Company. These gentlemen will be sharing their thoughts on how to improve cloud communication through CX. Let's get started with a quick round of introductions of each of the panelists.
Hi, should I go first?
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining on this weekend. My name is Vamsi. I'm SVP Head of Engineering at Neo Growth Credit.
Sorry, Mr. Vamsi, you need to be a little louder. Yes.
Okay, let me know if I'm audible now.
Yes, you are clear now.
Okay, great. So, good afternoon again. Myself, Vamsi. I head engineering at Neo Growth Credit. We are a digital lending company focused into business loan segment, your small and medium business segment. We are a touch and tech company, so to say. Not a pure mobile app based lender, not really a traditional NBFC. We try to amalgamate the best of both worlds. I started my journey with Neo Growth Credit in 2019. We're a 40-member team based out of Bangalore. I lead the site here in Bangalore.
So Vamsi, sorry to interrupt. But I think if you switch off your video, I think you'll be clear, because again, there is a network issue. I guess the panel will agree to this. Yes.
No problem. So I think that was fairly what my was. I head engineering at Neo Growth Credit. And in the interest of the topic for the day, yes, we do use cloud telephony. So look to sharing some of our experiences here.
Great.
Yeah, you can go ahead, Tanmay.
Okay, so I have, I've been working in the telecom space since 1995-96, and I've seen the evolution from EPBX to sort of VoIP to now cloud telephony. I've since moved on from telecoms. In 2017, I moved into insurance, but again, technology-based insurance company called ACO. And at ACO, I look after the pre-sales team, which is about 300 strong. I also look after other lines of businesses for ACO, but ACO is a direct-to-customer company, so we don't really have any channels. We don't really have a large sales team like the banking sector does. So that's a little bit about me, and I love dogs. I've got 3 dogs.
Thanks, Tanmay. Going on to Alap.
Thank you, Ekta. Just for a kindly quick check in terms of my audio and visuals are okay with everyone?
Yes.
more than any other technology, we really kind of struggle to understand, or probably kind of stable connection. Even the 5Gs are promised. So having said that, hi everyone, this is Alap Gandhi. I work with Future Generali Life Insurance Company. I take care of all the digital-led transformation projects across the distribution channels that involves a lot of exposure towards the large army of front-end soldiers. And when it comes to the frontliners, is one of the most important aspect is that how they are connected to the customers, be it inbound or outbound. And probably during today's course, we would like to touch upon the experience that we have had so far, challenges, and what are the plans that we look forward and find a couple of solutions which may change the entire way that we talk to the customers. Thank you.
Thanks, Alap. Moving to Himanshu.
Thanks, Shubha. Hello, everyone. My name is Himanshu, and I focus on digital and emerging technology initiatives at Shriram General Insurance Company Limited. As highlighted by Raman during the session, some of the good things about cloud telephony, it has really helped us also during the pandemic times to touch base with our customers, and we could achieve same level of customer satisfaction and could ensure business continuity. I look forward for the panel and discuss few points in detail. Thanks.
Thanks, Himanshu. So let's get started with the discussion. In 2020, COVID-19 has triggered an unprecedented change in business and operating model for many industries. Most of the industries were affected, especially the BFSI sector. Well, the good thing right now is most of them are starting to recover as well. So for my first question, we can discuss about how the customer communication has gotten affected and what are the steps taken by the financial institutions to meet these challenges. Let's try to analyze from two important perspectives. First one being, how did it affect the business from business continuity standpoint? And second being, how the customer expectations has changed post-COVID and what your organization have been doing to meet the challenges. We can split into two and talk about both of them, and each of you can share your thoughts on that. I would like to hear your thoughts. We can take it one by one.
I would like to take a probably lead here. 2020 has been a challenging year for everyone, for sure, individuals as well as the company as well. When it hit us in March, we really weren't sure in terms of how to move forward. We had BCPs kicked in. We had a series of discussion in terms of what are we looking at, what are these options that we have. One of the key decisions we had to make was what are the resources in terms of the technological support, what are the key solutions that we have so far, and how do we make sure that those solutions are leveraged. So answering to your first question in terms of were the companies ready? Probably no. We in the very initial days of pandemic hitting us, there was a very common meme which was floating around in the business circles, which was who brought in the transformation in the company, who brought in the digital transformation. Was it CXO, CMO? And then the answer comes in, no, it was the pandemic which brought in the digital transformation. It was correct. All the plans that we had for about 3 months to 5 months of horizon, all those plans started kicking in immediately. And everyone on the panel would agree that those were the crucial 3 to 5 months wherein a lot of transformation projects were put into the place from a company's perspective. So I would like to, stick to the first part of the question wherein say that were the company ready? No, we weren't. We all geared up. We kind of, started solution in terms of how do we touch base the customers? What do we tell them? What are they expecting out of us? Purely from the insurance company's standpoint of, it was at most important that the customers stand with us. They keep on invested. They don't withdraw. More importantly, if they were anyways, badly impacted, our solutions being health or other aspect of life insurance, they were supported. They were paid back well in time. We kind of leveraged onto each of these aspects while we move forward into pandemic.
So don't mind, I'll sort of go ahead. So, in the case of ACCO, we saw this coming about 2 months back. Our biggest challenge, and thanks to cloud telephony, I wasn't too worried about work from home scenario. What I was worried about was the logistics, the infrastructure side of things. So getting hold of laptops was a huge challenge. But we started work from home roughly around the 6th, 7th of March. We moved our 300 people team home. And when the pandemic hit, the only problem was generating business. The infrastructure was there in place. Of course, there were other challenges that as people went home, and they were working from their homes, which could be a small town or a village, internet and mobile connectivity was an issue, which we tracked extremely closely. And again, God bless cloud telephony, because it was literally a switch. We tried it out, and in 6 hours, we said, okay, this works. And things went on. So we were reasonably well prepared. In fact, you're absolutely right. When you said that, when you said that, what really caused the transformation, and it wasn't. These ideas have been knocking around in my head and in the organization's head. That do we need to have all these people sit in this office space and incur all these costs? Can we not use that expense in a better way to improve consumer experience? And with this pandemic, one thing is for sure, my sort of pre-sales team, they're not coming back to office as of now. And we're going to layer different levels of technology to ensure that not only do they stay engaged, because all of them, they need that connectivity, the human connect. But at the same time, can we deploy technology that ensures that the money that I'm saving by not getting them to office, can I use that money in a better way to improve my customer experience, to ensure that what's being said is the right thing? And again, and this is where cloud telephony comes in nicely, right? It's a nice layer. It allows me to access recordings quickly from anywhere, push those files into databases which are driven by AI, which are driven by ML, which is listening to the calls, which is allowing me to move much more quicker. So the pandemic accelerated and sort of cemented a lot of the things that we wanted to do. So that's my 2 bit on this.
Yeah, I think I cannot agree more with Alap and Tanmay, right? I think setting up the infrastructure was one of the first challenges. A lot of these contact center
teams used to come to physical offices in Mumbai, Bangalore, etc. And they had access to desktop infrastructure and not laptop infrastructure. So they quickly needed laptops to be able to even work. And then we're talking about giving them these laptops, not really in Mumbai and Bangalore, but in their hometowns, right? And the villages where they're headed back. So this was a huge logistical problem, though it might at first seem to be a technology problem, it was actually a logistical problem. I think it took a good 3 weeks before we realized that this is a reality and this is not going away pretty soon. It's not something that we can just live with for a month and then, things are back to normal. Therefore, we really need to hit it head on, the challenge, and get moving. So this infrastructure readiness itself was a battle that we took up in March, really. I think it took, I think the approvals were fairly fast thanks to RBI moratorium and several other guidelines that came. There was a flush of customer queries. There was a flush of customer complaints and whatnot, right? There was a lot of clarification which was hanging in the air, and these clarifications were to be made quickly to the teams, which also meant, despite being early adopters of cloud telephony, we haven't quite imagine the scale at which it would have to handle. The fact that it's cloud telephony, it's hosted at my end and not at, despite it being a SaaS platform, the fact it's hosted on my private AWS cloud helped me auto scale fairly quickly and, handle this flood of queries. Right? I think these were the 2 business continuity requirements that we were initially challenged with. And then the second part, I think the transformation came in slightly later. The next month, we realized opportunities in the space, automation space, to see how we can even subvent or, shift left the first call, right? Can we shift left the first call if there is attempt to that, I don't need a customer agent to really help the customer with the response. How can I rather provide the solution in a completely automated way using AI? I think more on that maybe later, further down in the conversation. But I think for the good initial part, requirements for around the laptop infrastructure. How do I ensure these folks, while they're sitting in office, still continue to apply even as they move away to their hometowns and villages back in their states, right? So I think this was the initial part that we found our navigation through pandemic.
Yeah, thanks for your thought process. So that, like, then that actually leads us to the focus on the next question. How the customer expectation has changed post-COVID, and what do you see like organization have been doing to meet those challenges? Let's talk from the customer expectation standpoint, how COVID has changed them, and I'm pretty sure, has the customer expectation has raised on exponentially, because they were pushed on to do things virtually, like do it by yourself. I also recently read that during pandemic, 20% of customer enrolled in digital banking for the first time. So how do you think, how the customer expectation has raised, and how did your organization, work on with those challenges?
I think if I were to take that question, the collections, right, came in through different channels. You had a door-to-door collection, you had an eNACH-based collection, you had a POS-based collection. There's so many ways of collecting. Now,
all those channels basically shrunk into just one or two, right? Basically everybody was enthusiastic about doing payments through UPI. So I think UPI saw a huge surge thanks to pandemic again. Second one was eNACH. Was to ensure we are eNACH integrated with as many banks as possible, and we can actually collect through the eNACH mandates rather than have the other channels of collection. This was an expectation as well as the reality. There was no other way we could really go to anybody's door and collect money, right? I think so. Yeah, this was eNACH was one of the immediate customer demands as well as the imperative of the day.
Yeah. So, I mean, any other panelists have any viewpoint on this?
We saw an spike in the the gradual digital shift of the customers, which was shifting, and suddenly it rose to a level, and we saw a spike. So during this time, customer behavior shifted towards the digital, and COVID could actually accelerate it. And focus was more on to assist the customer and touch base with them once, because looking at the product structures in financial industry also, it requires a human touch at some point of time.
What we found was quite interesting, actually. We found that during the Janta curfew, the first 2 months, our connectivity rates shot up, which was really interesting. It's as if people wanted to speak to people because they were stuck at home. Typically we trended around 36-37%, and at that point in time, and we have a sort of 3.6 attempts before we sort of get to a optimal 80% lifetime connect. What we found was that the 3.7 dropped drastically to 2. People just wanted to just have somebody call them and talk to them. And that was interesting, but now things is back to normal. It's back to business as usual. We still have a large number of not connect or NC calls sitting out there. In terms of customer, we are a digital company, so we saw we definitely saw an uptick in business, but we are in the space of auto insurance, so a lot of people were also saying that मेरी गाड़ी तो चल नहीं रही है, तो मेरी गाड़ी नहीं चल रही तो मैं insurance क्यों दूँ? So all those things happened, and of course we sort of went along with it. In fact, we were the company that adopted something to say that you'll get 1 month waiver on your premium, because we understand your car's not running, so why should you even pay for that premium? And the regulator supported us, and our business is hugely regulated. So we did some stuff which was more customer focused. And also some stuff which the pandemic caused, which was better connectivity with the customers. So yeah.
I would kind of second to what Tanmay just said. Customer wanted to be heard. They wanted to connect. They wanted to talk about what has happened. They want to express their feelings, etc. One thing what we realized that it's imperative that we need to keep that channel of communication open whenever they are needed. Whenever we are supposed to be there to hear out. Not only from the contact center perspective, but also everyone across the channels, be it my agents, be it my sales representatives across the hierarchy. During the pandemic, we were, as it comes as a surprise, it came as a surprise at that point of time that because of this, probably I would also say that the kind of efforts that we put in terms of the customer communications, it was noticed that the persistency was right on the rise. We made I would like to say that we made every probably tricks in the books, but we managed to stay, let the customer stay with us. We made sure that the customers are reached out for their queries, for any of the support they require, and probably that I think customer also reciprocated by staying with us.
Yeah, thanks, Alok. So as Tanmay and Alok mentioned, I also agree with that. Like pandemic has pushed people to use all the digital digital banking or everything. But even then, it still requires a lot of prompt action, to make them use. There was always a communication gap. I mean, it usually happens in a physical space, and when they were actually pushed into a virtual space, we also wanted to most of the BFSI, we also want to give all the information that what customer needs. I mean, you have to actually guide them in a very structured approach, how to open a bank account or internet banking. Even when Raman was presenting, he was talking about how his mom, she opened her account, but even then her agent had to be there in every point of time. During the onboarding her for the opening an account. So that actually pushes me to the next question. So voice communication plays a vital role in customer experience. How BFSI sector can leverage it to the fullest? Can you talk about how the organization use voice call for customer communications? How can we leverage it to the fullest point? So you can start, Tanmay.
We are a digital company. So essentially, when a customer comes online, we know exactly which part of the journey he is at right now. Whether he's filling up the form, or whether he's filled up the form, or whether he has created the code. Now, what that allows us to do with voice communication is to reach out to that customer at the right point in time. We don't want to spam customers, right? Being a digital company, we don't want to spam customers. Customers should be allowed to undertake the journey till the point where they get stuck. So we have, of course, an integrated chatbot sitting out there. And at the same time, we sort of apply certain logic that, let's give him 4 minutes, let's give him 5 minutes. And if he's still struggling or he's not clear, maybe he has a question on his mind, because we believe our product is superior, right? And we believe our pricing is also great. So we reach out to the customer at, we believe, in optimum time. We give him 5 minutes, and if he's still not moving or he's still stuck, we give the customer a call. And at that point in time is where the voice comms picks over. However, having said that, the other challenge of voice comms is a lot of people don't want to be called. And how do I, as Acko, know that this customer wants to be called, this customer doesn't want to be called? And that continues to be a challenge, because we want customers to just continue with their journey. But voice comms does help. What we have noticed is that if I was to leave the customer and let him go down the journey, he will leave sort of, let's say, 10 customers who come, maybe 1 will buy, 9 won't. And it's not because we don't have a good product. It's because, he said, I'll go and check out something else, and, and he probably ends up paying more for a slightly not so superior product. However, the moment we have a voice call coming in, this 1 jumps to 3, right? Because the customer needs some help, needs some advice, needs some opinion, needs some assurance that what's happening and what he's buying is the right product. So yeah, it has definitely helped, but we are increasingly looking at trying to figure out ways of creating a smoother product journey so that the customer need not be called. It's like I keep telling my friends, there was a point in time when we used to have 50 menus lying in our house, before we wanted to order for food. And then came Zomato. And now you don't even speak to the restaurants anymore, right? Everyone just orders online, Zomato, Swiggy, just pop it and you're done with it. And that's where I believe the online digital business should head for, where customers don't need to speak to anyone. I know it goes against what we are here for, but that's really, I think, the best customer experience is that he should be spoken to when he wants to be spoken to, not when the company thinks he needs to be spoken to. So I think that evolution needs to happen. But as of now, we need to call, we need to speak to them to ensure that our numbers keep moving and the customer makes the right choice. Yeah.
Any other panelists have any other viewpoints or? Okay, moving on, as Tanmay, he mentioned that obviously, the customers, they should be reached out at a particular time, and how we can actually automate about the process and all those things. But before that, I would like to talk about how, there are different parameters. Like when a lead comes in, what is the first response time or a turnaround time or a wrap time, especially by your customer facing teams like sales team, because for sales team, conversion matters actually. So for your RM teams, you have to engage them at a different point, you have to engage the customers so that you're getting your collection rates are fine. So all these parameters, how did your organization you tackle all those parameters during the COVID or even post the COVID? How is the parameters looking like? Yeah, anyone? Alap, your views on that?
So I have a slightly different of, take on this particular question. Okay. So what you said is right, that, probably we as a, probably from a response time perspective, let's look at it this way. Everyone has a mobile. Every customer has a mobile phone, right? Mobile phone, from a human behavioral perspective, even though there are 2 different applications, one is, let's say, for example, WhatsApp, and the other one is called, or probably a customer application. Now, as a customer, how easy it is, how fast is it to load, does it have a better UI and UX, can I swiftly move it around, is that like every time that I open the app, do I need an assistance in terms of doing what do I do? So what I'm trying to say is customer has experienced something in other domain, other genre, and carrying the same set of expectations and experience while the customer is performing another activity. Similarly, it goes for the rest of the probably the context here as well. We start buying probably something on Amazon, and all of a sudden, because of the marketing activities, we start getting those particular products or the likes of the products showing up on our social media feed, etc., etc., etc. Or let's say, for example, even if we kind of as probably, Tanmay was saying, and I have actually experienced that when I wanted to purchase a policy, I entered only and only my contact details and few of the very basic details onto that particular aggregator, not naming here. Within a minute, I got a call. That means that I was expected to receive a call within that short period of time. Is it good or not good? It's separate kind of discussion. Currently, we are into a situation wherein the instant gratification has gone into the blood. At any point of time, we require to get attention. And I think the people who could do it, like Echo has been, like, say, for example, probably Tanmay, you have developed a kind of a scenario wherein I would only call up to the customer if XYZ, then otherwise I'm going to irritate the customer out of it. So making sure that they are not touched upon at the wrong time, but still they have been, they have been supported when they needed the most. I think that's going to work the most. Having said that, we have the entire fraternity on internet have made, have raised the customer expectations in terms of instant gratification or instant acknowledgement to another level. So this is my take on this.
Okay. Thanks, Alap. So yeah, as Tanmay and Alap, mentioned during the last 2 points, that obviously we expect the companies will be giving us a call, like an insurance company, once you actually request, you're searching for something, you're getting a call, but as Tanmay mentioned, it should be an automated process and all those things. So obviously, the customer, as Alav mentioned, that instant gratification, it's going to stay, or it might even exponentially increase for customers. So how do you think the organization are going to use cloud telephony or technologies like AI to meet the rising customer expectation? And how can we use that to increase the efficiency of the existing process, like smart IVR or AI to prompt time to customer, to call the customers, or a chatbot? How do you think how these technologies are going to affect the meet the rising customer expectation? So yeah, Vamsi, your viewpoint.
Yeah, so Ekta, Shubha, I think this will slightly tie back to the earlier question of response times and keeping the CSAT high with respect to instant gratification, right? If I can shift left, the shift left, in my mind, the shift left strategy works way better than
getting things first time right, or responding faster, right? Why should I even respond if I can shift left and automate a particular step, right? That's been the thought process always. So let's talk with an example, right? In our own case, when we did a survey and we did a lot of sampling throughout the year, we realized that out of 100 calls that we receive, at least 65 calls relate to a document request. And, they want to know what is the outstanding amount. They want to know something related to their account, right? It's going to be either a statement, it's going to be a tax receipt or whatever. It's one of these documents that they really want, right? When we did this sampling. So this is what they want. There are already customer portals available where they can go and download. But if in terms of instant gratification, the expectation has reached a stage where they don't even want to do that, right? The customer doesn't want to actually go onto a portal and click download and then access it, right?
I think Mr. Vamsi is breaking a lot, Shubha. Right? He is not audible. So Shubha, you there?
Yeah. Vamsi, can you just switch off your video and probably
he wants it emailed or what?
We're not able to hear you properly.
Yes, there's a lot of disturbance coming in. Connectivity issue.
Sorry, Vamsi, we actually lost
Yeah.
you.
So, yeah, is it better now?
Yes.
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay, fantastic. So the idea was to basically look at document requests, right? Which in our case contributed to 2/3 of the entire call volume. So
Every time there is a document request, there is an automatic email generated. And the email would assign the call automatically to a certain call agent as a first stage. The second stage of the project was to actually email back specific document pulled out from one of our core banks. Whenever there is a loan statement, whenever there is a outstanding balance being requested, any sort of document that's being requested, the process, the strategy has been to shift left and take it away from right. While telephony, while the contact center still receives it to
Sorry, sir, we are not actually able to hear you properly.
So till Vamsi comes back, my thoughts on what is the future of cloud telephony. I think it needs to be an integrated approach. Right now, what cloud telephony is fundamentally doing is it's taken people away from an on-prem to a cloud one, quick to deploy, attractive pricing, accessibility to call recordings quickly. So I think that's where cloud telephony is currently. I think it needs to have an integrated approach wherein if a customer says do not call, the agent cannot dispose of in the cloud telephony by saying call him day after, right? The system should be smart enough to listen to the call and say the customer said do not call. Change it to a do not call. I think cloud telephony needs to evolve from just being a communications tool to also a listening tool, where it's listening to the conversations. And as it's listening to the conversations, it's transcribing it back. It's allowing people like Vamsi, Alap, myself, Himanshu, whoever's running those business units, to know what is the customer saying, the voice of the customer. The key thing in any communications is the conversation, and we don't get to listen to the conversation. You don't know what the agent is saying. You don't know what the customer is saying. You only believe what the agent has written. And in 3% of the calls that you do end up auditing, you say, okay, yaar, ye ho gaya, ab change karo. And in those 3%, you will typically find 15% of that 3%, which is a significant chunk. If you're only listening to 3% of the calls, 15% of those calls will make you cringe. यार ये क्या बोल रहा है, क्यों बोल रहा है, इसको, how do you improve it? So I think cloud telephony needs to shift gears to really start to listen to calls, to translate that conversation to meaningful data, which will allow organizations to take quicker decisions and give fantastic customer experience. That's my take where cloud telephony should evolve to, and I'm sure it's moving in that direction. Yeah.
Tanmay, probably I would, while you talked about the call which were made, I would also like to go a step back in terms of that the cloud telephony can also make a significant difference in the process of reaching out to the customers. Now today, we are simply talking about, dialers, right? We have dialers who keep on probably either manual dialing or auto dialing and assigning the calls to random agents which are available and probably able to talk to the customer. Why not we have the cloud telephony worked out there in terms of a better connectivity? You touched upon a very right note that if the customer has said in the earlier conversations, don't call me, don't call him, don't call her, don't disturb, right? Having read that previous conversation, let the cloud telephony decide whether I'm supposed to dial that number out to the customer again or not, right? So it also goes like, it's a kind of a circle that we need to look into it. Now today, there's one of the typical challenges most of the sales front organization would face is when the leads are passed down, now you being in, a digital insurance company, you have wide, as we said, there are 300 people sitting out there, making sure that every code generator are being touched upon, right? At various points, 4 minutes, 5 minutes to hour or whatever day. The companies with the sales force out in the field, it's something which we can't really expect them to do, right? They're on the call, they're on their way to the meeting, the clients and whatnot, and we can't really ask them that, hey, you have been given this lead, why don't you just, why didn't you call me? Probably it was a digital lead, then obviously the great instant gratification. Customer is sitting and, has come to my website, taken a pen in terms of writing his details and sent all these details to me. And the customer is feeling that I'm not being heard back in that, oh shit, those many minutes or hours has been left. Not possible probably at very same time. What do we do? How can we use the technology? So I think it would also cover a few of the next question about the AI and the use of other technological aspects. Can we not automize the initial process of reaching out to the customers? To making sure that the agent or my frontliner, sales manager, sales rep is reaching out to the customer. How is he connected? Is he free or is it not free? Looking at his calendar, making sure that his phone is available, placing a call with him first, making sure that then the moment he picks up the call, the customer is then connected, completing the cycle, and then getting into, taking the clues from the earlier conversation, if there was any, what to talk, not to talk, on constant feedback into the conversation about these are the set of products. We talked about, Echo, you talked about the car insurance. I am not, my business is shut. I have lost almost 95% of my 2020 in terms of revenue. What do I do with the the fleet that I have? Maybe a little slighter different take when it came to life insurance. In fact, everyone realized, we are underinsured, or probably we are not insured, right? In that capacity, how do we make sure that we are selling a right set of plans to them? We are selling the right amount of coverage to them. So I also see that cloud telephony combined with the other AI-based technology would really make the entire experience of connecting one person from the company to the customer a very, very, very meaningful way.
Yeah, thanks, Tanmay and Allah, for your viewpoint. So actually, moving forward, we'll just move towards another a very controversial question. What is your experience when it comes to comparing an on-prem to a cloud solution? Obviously, we can talk how we benefit from both, or how we can effectively utilize both to the fullest extent. But what is your experience when it comes to comparing an on-prem to a cloud telephony solution?
Yeah, maybe
Yeah, Himanshu. Yeah, sorry, Vamsi, your thoughts on that.
Hi. First of all, I'm audible, right?
Yeah, you're audible right now.
Fantastic. So I think cloud, when it started in the initial days, has been a debate of should I spend CapEx or should I spend OpEx, right? And people chose cloud for OpEx and avoiding CapEx, right? And keep their accounting books easy. I think the paradigm shift, not just in telephony, but at an overall technology landscape level, the shift now is you choose cloud because you want to scale faster and you don't want the friction in enabling CapEx movements, in taking this decisioning impact your scalability, right? The transition with respect to cloud embracement has come from CapEx versus OpEx decision to, do I want to scale faster? Am I okay with scaling a little slower, right? While this was all apparent from the day one, I think the major hurdle was, the level of understanding when it came to data localization, data security. If I am an ISO 27001 certified company, am I good with cloud? Which cloud specifically? Do I even have the know-how in-house? I think these were the major hiccups. And specific to cloud telephony, you're talking about customer data. There's a lot of call recordings happening. Where am I storing this data? What's my purging policy? How do I treat this data? How do I secure this data so that it doesn't get scraped or fetched elsewhere? I think this was the whole debate about.
the level of maturity that we have with an AWS or a GCP or Azure today is at a place where none of these questions remain any longer, right? Whether it comes to meeting your RBI regulations or ISO 27001 regulation, or encryption at rest, encryption in transit, ability to purge, none of these, even data localization for that matter. You got availability zones in Mumbai, in Chennai coming up. So you no longer have to ship your data to Netherlands or Singapore and have the gray area, right? So I think that's the comfort we have seen in the last 3 to 4 years, and at least we at NeoGrowth have been a complete cloud shop as an NBFC, and we're also a cloud telephony shop. We use cloud telephony extensively. So those are my initial views. I think happy to take questions as and when they come up.
So on-prem and cloud telephony debate is an evergreen question which is up for debate. When any discussion without this debate is incomplete when it comes to cloud telephony or be it cloud computing. I'm a strong believer of cloud because if an organization wants to scale, in digital, cloud is the only option because it gives us flexibility to scale, integrate, and manage the data very efficiently and do on the fly integrations. Though it's possible with the on-prem also, but it has got its own limitations. Earlier, organizations were not very comfortable in moving customer data to cloud, but over a period of last few years, gradually the trust has been built by the service providers, and now corporates are also pretty confident, especially the NBFC and financial domain clientele also, to move their data to the cloud. And if we go ahead with the right partner, reliable one, your data security, accreditation, certifications, regulations are all taken care of by the cloud telephony service providers. Another advantage would be wherein infrastructure skill sets required for managing on premises is very difficult because you need to focus on your core business instead of concentrating more on managing and ensuring the upkeep of the system. There are a couple of more things which are in pipeline. Still, those can, like Tanmay said while answering the last question, like speech analytics, programmable speech analytics is something which can bring in more efficiency to the process, wherein we detect the emotions and sentiments of the customers when he is on call. So agents or somebody whosoever, even if the customer service agent from the your centralized offices or the field forces more efficiently can handle them. And in some cases, programmable speech analytics could be of help in mitigating frauds also.
Just to add on auditability, the fact people derived comfort in auditability of cloud environments, how friendly the shops have been, it is the AWS or GCP.
The fact it's clearly in every trail is available, and you can set up your own audit trails for anything that you want. I think that drove the adoption faster than anything else. Because that was a gray area. We don't know whether we can audit and how easy is it to audit. What data is easily available, what data is not available. Now it's fairly clear for everybody, and I think thanks to the curriculum and certification programs that these people came up with, there are more architects available on each of these cloud platforms, and they know that it's fairly easy to audit each of these cloud platforms, right? I think that also drove the adoption rate.
So Tanmay, I'll have your point of view.
Yeah, sure. There's no two ways about it. Cloud telephony is here to stay. There's no two ways about it. It's just so quick to deploy, than doing an on-prem, be it a small business or a large business. I think large businesses are struggling mainly from legacy issues. Otherwise, given a chance, even they would jump. They will move. There is no two ways about it. Nobody wants to have the headache of ensuring that there are people coming into shifts and ensuring that the servers are up, that the lines haven't gone down, et cetera, et cetera. No company wants to do that. So it's here to stay. I mean, I think on-prem is to my mind, it's a dead investment. And it's just that companies are struggling to take that hard call for whatever reason. It could be people related, it could be whatever. I don't think regulatory is so much of a challenge anymore. The entire world and has moved to the cloud, right? So I don't think regulations are so much of a challenge anymore. I do feel, however, that the cloud telephony providers need to work very closely with the regulators. So Department of Telecom, for example, keeps coming up with a whole bunch of rules and regulations, which companies like me, I find it difficult to keep track of. And I think cloud telephony providers need to take that step, work with the regulators, educate customers to say, this is allowed, this is not allowed. Today, what's happening is you have your large telcos, I won't take names, but you have your large telcos, they will come and arm twist a customer to say, what you're doing is wrong, it's illegal, you have to do it like this. Now, by doing it like that, it's going to cost me a bomb, right? And then I have to engage a consultant to see, is what that guy is saying, is that true or not? So I think, and I went back to my cloud telephony guy to say, look, is this true or not? He said, no, I don't know, I'll get back to you. So I'm just saying that on-prem is finished, to my mind. The ones who are staying, they're staying for whatever reasons they have. But I think the cloud telephony providers really need to step up also from a regulatory perspective to give confidence to the customer and tell him that, look, don't worry, we've got your back covered. Today, I don't get that with a cloud telephony provider. I just don't get that. In my earlier days, and I'm going back to 96, 97, I've been running call centers from Allahabad as well, while we were based out of Delhi. Since we were doing it ourselves, we would go to DOT to figure out the regulations and be absolutely sure that what we're doing is right, because we don't want to be penalized, right? Now it's moved. Now I don't have that, since I'm not doing any of that, I don't have that confidence, which I need to get. So I do feel that the cloud telephony really close loop it. They need to give confidence to the customer from a regulatory perspective as well.
Alap, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. As everyone has said, there's no doubt about the the things what cloud can do versus the on-premise. Right from the scaling up to the from cost to experience and etc. Two things what probably what Tanmay said. One is the legacy issue, wherein not only the legacy but the even if the probably the infrastructure which has already been set up for the large organization. The key challenge is that how do we make sure that the cloud telephony service providers basically kind of seamlessly fit into the structure infrastructure that we have currently. We had so many of these probably global partners, global service providers came talk to us. The only reason that we couldn't move forward them, not because of their technology, it's because of our technology. They were unable to seamlessly kind of have a handshake with the platforms or the technologies that we have currently. Pandemic actually made it worse. We obviously spending every single penny by weighing it very very cautiously, and so it is everywhere. Right. So in that particular capacity, although we are looking at a solution in the future where the cost will significantly go down, how are we justifying it as right now? The second point about the legality aspect, probably regulation aspect. One, I think now it's going to not that any of the regulation has changed, but more and more data centers coming up in India. From an insurance perspective, the regulation says that we can't really host anything onto the servers of the customers' information on the servers which are outside of Indian geography. More and more number of data centers coming up residing in India is going to also significantly impact the business as well for cloud telephony. So.
So Yeah, I mean, like I completely agree with all your perspective that cloud telephony is going to stay, but obviously like Tanmay mentioned, or like Vamsi mentioned, like we need to work on the finer aspects of maybe integrating with different APIs, or like introducing, as Himanshu mentioned, like probably introducing an AI to sorry, introducing an API to like convert the speech. I mean, like convert the speech into like voice into like wordings, and then doing a sentimental analysis, or like introducing bots, probably like setting a regulated process, and probably monitoring them in a single dashboard, or which will give a viewpoint to like every team, like from sales team or a customer support team, or like RM team, where they actually like probably they can have like a single view, and it should be able to like seamlessly integrate it with each other, and provide like 360-degree point of like, so that when a lead comes in, probably the sales agent also will have an idea like whether to contact them right now, or like in case they are able to like do it by themselves, and in case if they needed to be called, they have to be called. Like after that, like probably even the probably the support team we should also be getting the same data, like from the sales team, like all the data should be available to them. So it is not just about like improving the customer experience, but also like improving the employee experience. So I think so like cloud telephony will stay, but we also like the, as you said, like we have to work on the regulations point of view, like the other technologies, we have to see that it seamlessly integrate, and as like Alab mentioned the data centers and the security point of view. All these things like we have to keep on mind. Probably probably like can I mean, like you can all just share your final viewpoint about how cloud telephony is like how what else can be done to like what all other process can be improved, like if I have missed on any point, like you can just add on to it for the conclusion discussion.
Yeah, so if I take that question, someone is saying, let's look at the supply chain of cloud telephony and the number of AI service providers in the backend who are trying to integrate your cloud telephony with different
AI-based services that can augment contact center, right?
Yeah.
I think opportunity for the cloud telephony operators to extend the supply chain to include AI services rather than have them operate into sub. So today you have got a certain startup which is offering email integration. You have a certain startup offering services to do speech analytics and uh, machine learning, etc. If cloud telephony can extend to offer AI and ML services, I think it becomes a single stop offering, and that would take the transformation, especially for the on-prem customers, to embrace cloud telephony. It could be the catalyst to quicken the transition. Those are my thoughts.
Himanshu, your viewpoint?
Yep. Talking about different channels and wherein, unlike the scenario wherein few companies operates only in digital and all, insurance, finance is something wherein human touch is always required, and a trust factor is there which always works. So agency, and there are few channels which are going to stay forever. So cloud telephony can come in picture more effectively and decentralize the sales process, wherein your one centralized call center dialing the calls, and wherever required, your regional teams get those calls back on their mobile phones. Those calls are also recorded, numbers are masked. So there is no lead leakage happening. Every lead is attended at the same point of time, and customers are also getting more satisfaction when we are getting calls from someone who is staying close to them, and if required, they can go personally and assist them also. That's one. Secondly, I'll re-emphasize again on the speech analytics part of it. That's something which should be available on more quicker. There will very few providers who are providing it as of now. Others should also provide, and it should be in near real-time basis. Third one would be cloud telephony should also bringing some sort of marketing automation capabilities while providing their panels, wherein CRM, feedback systems, omni-channel communications are provided under one umbrella and one panel. So customer onboarding journeys and post-sale service journeys can be orchestrated in a better manner. That's
all. Tanmay, your views on this?
Yeah, so I sort of completely agree with Himanshu, Vamsi, and Alap. In terms of the discussions we've had. The way I look at cloud telephony is that it's at a very nascent stage in terms of technology. Right now, it has just moved the PABX to the cloud with call recordings, etc., being available. Some of them have evolved a little bit more. They've tried to integrate a CRM into it. Again, I'm on the wrong side of my 40s, closer to my 50s. So I have seen this journey. I have built these solutions, and the key part is that listening solution that is required. I think that's something that I always wanted. Way back in 2000, we used to have an ePBX. We used to pull out the call recording, and we built our own CRM. So the call recording would be attached to that conversation that was had with the customer, so we could easily access and retrieve it. So what cloud is doing right now is, to be honest, is no rocket science. It's been around for decades. It's just that it's easy to deploy. I think the key change will be when cloud providers really start to share incisive data with the company. If I know what my customer said or what my advisor said, and what can I do to make my customer's life even better. And if the cloud telephony providers can give those kind of solid solutions, I think that's going to be the huge differentiator. Otherwise, currently what we've done is we've just taken the ePBX, we've moved it to the cloud, the recordings are there, fine, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. But I think the key thing is it needs to move there. That's when that's when one will see a huge shift. So that's my opinion on this one.
I love yours.
In fact, I kind of touched upon while earlier speaking on in this discussion that in itself, as Tanmay said, that it can't really evolve if it's just in its own small sphere. It has to grow beyond the current systems or current platforms which there are there. It needs to connect to all of our peripheral systems, some of the core engines, probably also putting an AI enable into the place wherein it is learning about what the conversation is, what are the few next steps of conversation, being suggestive about what could be, what are the products probably could be sold out, so on and so forth. There's whole other aspect of entire cloud telephony could be in terms of the automated conversations. There are a few companies who are doing really good in terms of having the voice bots, wherein you with the customer may have or may not even realize that they are talking to a bot, like the way that we are having a conversation right now over the phone call. So yes, there is a lot of scope in terms of improvement. There are technologies in place, and if all, as I say, that it needs to have a great handshake with the existing systems around, and with the futuristic approach towards how do I use those pieces of technology into the cloud telephony. I think that's where we will see the real light of the day.
Thanks, Adav. Ekta, we can actually start with the Q&A session.
Okay. So Thank you all the panelists. Thank you, Shubha, for moderating the panel. So audiences, we are open for the Q&A. So if we have any questions, there was one question which was put by Murali, which Raman had answered on a personal chat room. So that was taken over. So audiences, any questions to our panelists, please put your questions. So we'll wait for a minute, Shubha, for the audience. Any insights, or if not questions, you can also share your insights. Shubha, I think the panel was quite clear, so we don't have any questions actually. And Shubha, anything or from your end coming in as a closing note?
I mean, like, yeah, as every, I mean, like we discussed about, I mean, in the panel also, like starting from Raman, we discussed like, how cloud telephony is actually like, going to benefit like different teams in the BFSI sector, and how pandemic actually like, pushed us into the digital forefront, and how cloud telephony actually like, enabled people to work from home, like different teams, like, enabling them to like, work from home, as well as like, almost all the teams in the BFSI sector had some value out of it. And moving on to our panel discussion, where like, our panelists talked about like, the benefits of the cloud telephonic, as well as what are the new other technologies that can be like, that can be like implemented along with the cloud telephonic solution, so that like, we will have a better utilization and provide a better customer experience, as well as to their employee experience. Yeah, this is the conclusion note, Ekta.
So I think we can close it on this closing note, right, Shubha? Because we don't have any questions. And if any questions, audiences, you have, you can connect with me. I can pass it on to the speakers, or Shubha or Raman from the Exotel, who would be happy to answer your questions. So on closing note, we have seen that customer experience has been the key brand differentiator in 2020 and will be in 2021 and coming years. So this has been true for all the businesses, including those in the BFSI sector as well. So that's why banking and financial institutions are working towards solving customer communication challenges. So on that closing note, I would like to thank all our panel speakers, Mr. Alap, Mr. Vamsi, Mr. Tanmay, Mr. Himanshu, and Shubha for being here, moderating the panel, and all the speakers sharing your great insights with the audiences. Thank you, Raman, for sharing your insights as a keynote speaker. We will be shortly sharing the video on the YouTube link, and my team will share with all the speakers and the audiences. Thanking our partner Exotel, and not missing our lovely audiences for staying here and taking out your precious time on a weekend, and being here. So kindly follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for the future webinar and the event updates. The feedback form has been shared with you all guys, which also mentions a kind of one-on-one brainstorm meet with Exotel. So if that's your interest, you can please mention it there. So thank you all once again, the audiences and our speakers, for staying with us on the weekend, and have a nice weekend and stay safe, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.